Our last one is Fullspan Health. Lindsay Allison is the Director of Consumer Marketing from Fullspan Health. With her is her partner from Hightouch, Anthony Chuli with Product Marketing. Please welcome to the stage Anthony and Lindsay.
Science! She blinded me with science! She blinded me with science!
All right, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you, Craig. Thank you for the CRMC staff for hosting us. My name is Anthony. I'm on the product marketing team at Hightouch. I'm really excited to close out this first amazing day of this conference by introducing a customer of ours who I've had the privilege of getting to know and work with over the past few months, and who has a really powerful story to share with you guys to close out day one. Lindsay and her team at Fullspan Health have been using Hightouch's agentic marketing platform to fundamentally rethink how their marketing team operates, and they've built something that is truly inspiring. So without further ado, Lindsay Allison.
Thank you. Thanks, Anthony, for the intro, and thanks to the CRMC team for having us. I promise I am the only 30 minutes between you and an alcoholic beverage, so hang with me, and I'll try to make this as engaging as possible. As Anthony mentioned, I'm going to be sharing with you today how we're activating the customer journey using AI. But before diving in, a bit about me. My name is Lindsay Allison, and I'm a Director of Marketing at Fullspan Health. I am a Charlotte native, so I also say y'all. We were talking sports earlier, so I'll tell you my affinities. I am a proud Tar Heel, a big UNC basketball fan, and also a Carolina Panther fan, although we are usually also in the bottom 25 percentile when it comes to performance. I'm genuinely so excited to be here today to share with you the ways our team is using AI. As most people in my company can attest, I cannot stop talking about the exciting work that my team is doing, and I'm thrilled to be here to share it with you all. At Fullspan Health, I lead our site and lifecycle marketing team, which includes email, SMS, on-site, and push programs that support over 7 million known users each month. You might be asking, what is Fullspan Health? And while you might not know us by our Fullspan Health name, I can almost guarantee you know one of our brands. Our brands include Helpline, the #1 health information site. Usually when you have a problem and you Google something, we're the one that shows up. Health Grades, a site that connects millions of people to the right provider each year. Bezi, an app-based community for those managing chronic conditions, among lots of other brands that you'll see on this slide. As a company, our mission is simple but powerful. We have more than 55 million unique visitors that come to our properties each month, and our goal is to turn that online discovery into decisive action. And what makes us unique is not just our reach, although that is pretty expansive. It's the role that we play in people's lives. Consumers come to us in deeply personal moments. Maybe it's searching symptoms, managing a condition, choosing a new provider for the first time, or understanding the potential side effects of a new treatment option. These are not casual moments, and we don't take that lightly. Given who we are, we operate in media and health. Like most industries, we are impacted by AI and the way that consumers are finding their information. I think we're all aware that we've entered a new era of marketing, and health marketing is no different. And this is being driven by a fundamental shift in how people discover information. Today, awareness and static alignment across channels is no longer enough, and discovery is splintering. AI is reshaping how health information gets found, and brands need strategies to ensure they're discoverable, relevant, and consistent wherever that health journey begins, whether it's Google, direct site, social, or maybe even an AI search. But let's talk about what this actually means with some data. We're seeing consumer expectations, and this was mentioned earlier, are stronger than ever. Consumers expect so much from their online experiences. Data suggests that 71% of consumers expect personalization in every interaction. And already, 4 in 10 consumers are turning to AI after a new diagnosis. And even with the use of AI and this personalization, people expect simplicity. They want all of their health information to be found in one place, with 71% of people looking for one trusted source of their health information. I think these stats really show that we are in an expectation economy. Consumers' expectations are larger than ever, no matter what industry you operate in. And in our industry specifically, people expect personalization, but they also expect privacy, they expect trust, and they expect information that is science-backed. That is exactly, luckily for us, the place that we believe Fullspan Health is well equipped to operate. But it's requiring us to lean even further into an audience-first strategy and being able to really create personalized experiences that speak to who our audience is. But delivering on this audience-first strategy that has personalization in mind meant we needed to get a lot more journeys in market. And I'll have some case studies on that later. But getting these journeys in market felt pretty daunting. I want to take a minute to really double-click into the diversity of intent that we have coming to HealthFind properties. As an information site, we have people coming to ask us how much potassium is in a banana, a pretty casual moment, and we do have the answer for that. But we also have people coming to compare the different GLP-1s, understanding how they find a doctor, really, really personal moments. And the kind of off-channel campaigns we deliver for that potassium banana seeker and those navigating a GLP-1 is very, very different. So in our industry specifically, personalization is so important. And as many people in this room can probably attest, and this visual speaks to it really nicely, the process to even get a single personalized campaign live can take a lot of time. I think one VP of personalization at a Fortune 50 company laid it out really well with this slide. To launch a single personalized campaign, it took 349 steps with 50 people touching the process. From design, approvals, build, launch, every column is a stage. Every cell is a task somebody has to own. I think everyone in this room knows exactly what that's like. And when you're trying to get hundreds of these tailored journeys in market, that burden can compound fast. So our team thought about what we really needed, and that was a flywheel. We needed to create an orchestration flywheel that was able to surface opportunities, generate campaigns and new programs faster than ever, optimize targeting, create a feedback loop. The goal, making each step smarter than the next. And we also knew that building that flywheel meant that we needed to find a technology to help us power this and move faster. And for us, we turned to Hightouch and their agentic marketing platform. Now, agentic marketing platform is a bit of a mouthful, so you're going to hear me refer to it as AMP for the rest of the presentation. AMP has two specialized studios, the Lifecycle Studio, which is predominantly used by my team, and the Ad Studio, which is used by our paid teams at Fullspan. The beauty is both of these studios are built on a unified foundation of customer data, campaign history, brand guidelines, and our own channel performance. So AMP actually knows who we are as Fullspan, and even more importantly, who we are as our sub-brands of Bezzy and HealthFind and HealthGrades. It knows our data, it knows our weaknesses, it knows our strengths, and can actually be our thought partner on activating against this. The mental model of using AMP goes something like this. Our team acts as the strategic lead. What is our idea? What is that sticky note idea that's been on our pile? What do we want to accomplish? Then we talk to it, like you would an agent. We define the goal, the audience, and most importantly, we set the guardrails. And the platform actually handles the specialized execution work. And our team reviews and approves. What this means in practice is that our ideas are moving faster, our insights go deeper, and our audience experiences something actually new. So now I'm going to walk you through 3 case studies to demonstrate the work that we've been able to get in market thanks to AMP. And I do want to highlight that we just onboarded into AMP in late February, so all of the case studies I'm going to share with you from initial onboarding to the platform, ideation, getting in market, and actually having enough time to be able to show you performance data is all in a little under 3 months, which I really think speaks to the speed of our team and also the ease of use of the platform. Case study number 1, the build of HealthFind's whole person health email. To give you a little background, historically, Healthline operated a suite of discrete, chronic-specific newsletters. In that suite, we had 30 different chronic condition newsletters that supported users anything from COPD, MS, diabetes, weight management. We believe, through our engagement data, that each newsletter served a specific audience quite well, but we had a hunch that the experience was probably fragmented, especially for users that we had on multiple lists. And this hunch was driven by data, and that we knew that users do not experience their health in silos. Nearly 40% of US adults are managing multiple chronic conditions, whether that be diabetes and heart disease, maybe mental health that comes on the back of a chronic condition diagnosis, maybe it's nutrition and weight, and for some users, it's all of the above. And we know that operating very siloed conditions wasn't serving our consumers' whole health picture. Our team recognized that our data was probably telling us something, but the idea of actually consolidating this data across disparate data sources felt a little daunting. So once we got access to AMP, it was one of the first questions we asked. Using the Hightouch Insights agent, we asked it to look through our email data and analyze the overlap across all of our chronic condition lists. Understanding what lists they're subscribed to, what kind of content they're engaging with, really trying to understand who they are and what they need from their full health picture. And when in a matter of, let's say, under 10 minutes, we had our answer. 25% of our audience was subscribed to more than one condition list. This was the aha moment for our team. Nearly a quarter of our subscribers were telling us, through their behavior, that they were seeking support for more than one health topic. Now, we had the audience and the data to be able to act on a different strategy. Instead of forcing our users to stitch together content and solutions, we could build a single, unified, and highly dynamic email experience. This was a massive shift in our content delivery model, moving from supporting a list of symptoms to actually supporting the whole health person. From there, we moved to the Lifecycle Studio and built the email you see here. We're calling it the Healthline Digest. Modules are selected based on each user's actual health topic interest mix, so no two digests are the same, because we know no two people's health needs are the same. We talked about trust earlier, and our industry is no different. I think it's actually some of the highest, and you really have to establish trust. And the bar for what we put in front of our audience is really high. On site, Healthline content is reviewed by a medical network of more than 130 providers. And that standard of trust doesn't stop at the article level. It has to carry through to every single off-site interaction. So within AMP, we built very specific brand, editorial, and creative guidelines to ensure that every digest reflects the quality our audience expects from Healthline, while still giving us the speed to execute at scale. The entire template, including the design, the HTML, the personalization logic, was all done by a single analyst on my team without any external creative or engineering lift. And while I have to say, it was all my team could talk about for a week before we had our next big idea, the data really is also validating the strategy. This is only a few weeks of data, I'll caveat, but we're already seeing over an 11% lift to unique click-through rate from this experience versus our control. And when we look down funnel at what those users who are coming to site from the new experience are doing, we're seeing a 27% lift to on-site behavior. But it doesn't just stop there. We're also seeing a nearly 30% lift to reactivation rate of our dormant subscribers. This is the number that gets me most excited. We know in a world of constant eyeballs and constant sends, resurrecting dormant subscribers can be really hard, and it's really exciting to see how successful this is. And it's not because we blasted them, frequency stayed largely the same, but it was because we finally showed up with something that spoke to their whole health picture. And while the engagement data is pretty compelling, the velocity story here is just as important. From the moment we identified the insight to the moment our entire chronic audience was in our new newsletter send, we're talking about less than a month. From insight, build, test, and rollout. In a world where it feels like consumer expectations are changing faster than most teams can shift new ideas, this is a real competitive advantage for our team. And once we got this journey in market, our team immediately thought, what else can we do? Which landed us on our journey strategy. For decades, Healthline and Healthgrades have been a trusted destination for health information and discovery. But our strategic ambition has always been more than that. People are coming to us not just for information, but they're coming to us to figure out what to do with that information. A study that Fullspan Health did suggested that 98% of people researching a health topic want to take a specific next action next. But 83% are still looking for guidance on what that action actually is. Knowing that people's expectations are not always met on site with just information alone was an aha moment for our lifecycle team, and really got us thinking about how can we build on-site experiences that meet where the user left off on their site experience. The key here is these new experiences needed to have personalization. I mentioned this earlier, and I think this visual does a really nice job of speaking to the fact that every user has a different story. Somebody trying to explore GLP-1s is going to have very different user need states than someone trying to prevent heart disease. And while that's one way of segmenting our audience based on their health topic interest, we also know that somebody that comes to Healthline every day and engages with our content and tools is a very different kind of user than someone that comes once a month. And they also need very different offsite engagement. We knew that the message had to match the moment and the user intent. So from there, we then again turned to AMP. What makes this so powerful is it really consolidates that flywheel I talked about earlier into one platform. We first started off by using the Insights agent to help us go through our hundreds of thousands of articles we have on Healthline. I'm sure many of you all have hundreds of thousands of product SKUs. We're in the article world. And I think there's just so much different intent that we wanted to go a click deeper. We didn't just care about what condition the article was about. We wanted to know what stage in the funnel it recommended that a user was in, what a user was actually doing on that article. And we started tagging them by their journey stage using AMP. Is someone upper funnel in information discovery? Are they exploring treatment options? Maybe they're actively managing a condition. Those are different users and different user need states. And AMP helped us be able to consolidate and tag our content in what felt like would have taken an eternity in a matter of weeks. From there, we moved to the Lifecycle Studio, and that's where my team began to build. We sent Hightouch a few prompts, it read through our brand guidelines, and with a matter of, let's call it an hour session, we had dozens of different email template live, not live, they were there, each able to speak to the different intents and the different user need states of our audience. Once we felt like the emails were in good shape and we ran it through our different approval process, we then used the Hightouch Reverse ETL to trigger the emails based on actual site engagement, or in some instances, the lack thereof, the site engagement. And finally, the AMP reporting agent closed the feedback loop. For each new journey we put in market, we created an automated performance report that sends to my team each morning via a Slack channel so that we can easily see performance, understand what to optimize, and what to do next. I think one of my favorite parts about the performance report is it doesn't just give you data like a static dashboard. We actually have it trained to give us next steps and 3 tips we should do that week to optimize and make the journey smarter. And the results, again, are continuing to validate our strategy. We had this live in, again, under a month, and we had 6 new journeys live, all touching millions of different people each month, and all designed to re-engage users wherever they are in their journey, whether they're brand new subscribers or somebody that's been around for a while. And we're seeing really strong engagement for both groups. We're already seeing a 15% lift to new user activation versus our legacy program. And we're already seeing, similar to the digest, that we've reactivated 10% of our weight management audience that had previously gone dormant. It's really exciting to see that our team isn't just shipping new journeys faster, we're actually meeting user expectations more and shipping smarter. Here I have an example of the real sends that were built in partnership with AMP. And I want to call out that these really do mimic the look and feel of what a user experiences on site. We have hyper-specific brand guidelines, making sure all of our font, our hex codes, our coloring really match the look and feel of our on-site. Because what we want our off-site channels to do is really be in a natural extension of what they did on-site. Remember, people are looking to get to action, and we really want to make sure our email and companion programs do just that and feel like a natural extension of where users left off. Internally, we're calling this our companion program because it really is a companion to what consumers are experiencing on site. Now, users continue to get the digest, but they're also getting a continuation of their journey on Helpline, which drives them to action quicker. And while our success on Helpline and the media has been quite compelling, we've also supplied the same strategic lens to our e-commerce business, which is a marketplace for HSA and FSA eligible products. Our store, like most health-focused retail, sees a significant uptick in sales every Q4, aligned with the spend down period when consumers have a finite period of time to spend their FSA dollars before they expire at the end of the year. But as I know everyone in this room can attest, our goal as lifecycle marketers is to be able to create and nurture journeys year-round, especially because many of the products in our suite, vitamins, supplements, and hygiene products, aren't one-time purchases. They're things people should be replenishing year-round. So we built a journey to do just that. We used the Insights agent to identify the top SKUs with high repurchase rates that would be well suited for a journey like this. And while it did successfully flag the products well suited for a journey, what was most compelling to my team is its proactive intelligence to be able to flag products that would be ill-suited for a replenishment journey. Think products that might be purchased frequently, like a pregnancy test, but are sensitive and shouldn't have a replenishment journey around them. This is the kind of judgment that the platform has, knowing not only when to reach out, but also when not to reach out, that protects our customers' trust and keeps them engaging. From there, we used AMP to build a lightweight personalization model, identifying 3 SKUs that are commonly also purchased with the product that a user should get replenished. We also had it predict the ideal purchase intervals at the product level so that each email was hyper-specific to that product and that purchase history. The result? 4 times the conversion rate of our typical email journey. What's exciting here is it's a true set it and forget it when. Our team did some optimization, some testing, and now this campaign is live and driving incremental revenue for our team year-round, with very little manpower to power it and make sure that it's continuing to work. We went from a blank slate to a high-performing revenue stream in days, not months. And as you can see by these case studies, and honestly, there's so many more, but I was limited to 30 minutes, so I kept it to these 3. We've been able to ship a lot of really compelling journeys in the past 3 months. We came into this work with very strong ideas, a deep understanding of our audience, and real user intent signals to act on. And what we built was the infrastructure to match our team's ambition. In just 3 months, we've moved dozens of ideas off the dreaded sticky note pile and into market. But what my favorite part about this is as our team's been ideating more and shipping faster, our sticky note pile has not gotten any smaller. In fact, we joke, our ideas have gotten bigger and a little bit scarier. And that's because when execution catches up with ideas, you stop suppressing your ambitions to max capacity and really start thinking bigger. For Fullspan, this is about being more than a marketing operations team. It's about being a leader in the health AI space and helping support users' next chapter of their engagement off-platform. One where we know our audience better, we create more tailored journeys, and guide people toward the right next action in their health journey. And Hightouch has been the strategic partner to help us do just that. Thanks for the time.
Thank you, Lindsay. A ton of questions.
Oh, good.
Yes. And so a couple of them are all a theme around HIPAA.
Yes.
Right? You're in this regulated industry. You're doing agentic stuff. Talk to us about how.
Yes.
How do you do that?
So I think it's really important to know that we have different properties that have different privacy statuses. So Health finds information only, which is not a HIPAA property. And also HIPAA is when you actually get medical diagnosis from a provider. And so we have none of that data. And so I think one thing that we're able to do is really, it's all condition-based. So we don't actually know, it's all information-based. We don't actually know what health condition a user has. It's all inferred. So that's why we're able to do some of these more dynamic journeys. And then we also make sure that in our privacy status, when people actually opt into our different newsletters, we ensure that we speak to the fact that we are only doing interest. So I think the key here is we don't actually know their conditions. We're not providers. We don't actually talk to providers. We're in the health information space, which is what makes some of these more possible.
So the subscription to a certain newsletter, you just infer they have interest in it. You can't infer they have anything else.
Yes.
Interesting.
And we have very specific content that's been all legally approved. We work very close with our legal team to make sure everything is interest-based.
Cool. Let's see. How do you create personalized emails that don't repeat the same content over and over and over again? This is from Tim Benson.
Yeah, good question. I think one thing that helps is we have 100,000 articles in our portfolio, so we have a breadth of content that makes that easier. But then we've also worked with our editorial team. So my team has a full staff newsletter editorial team to put together a lot of different copy iterations that we can feed into Hightouch. And so one, we're just looking at engagement and seeing when it dips as kind of our signal that users might be getting the same message twice, but then also just the breadth of our content. And then we also use Sailthrough, which is a Marigold product, which is also a Zeta product, which is here. And they have some out-of-the-box personalization logic that also ensures that we're not duplicating content. So we have some handlebars or HTML logic in our emails that also prevents against that.
Nice. So speaking of Hightouch, just one question. How do you put trust in a platform like Hightouch with such private information like health interests? And are you ensuring that the combination of data is relevant to each user?
Yes, so Hightouch is HIPAA compliant. We don't actually have HIPAA data, but they are HIPAA compliant. And I think what's really important is Hightouch doesn't store any of our data. It lives on our tech stack. And so all of the data that it's able to make decisions off is data that lives in our Databricks instance. It has no PHI, it has no PII, everything is anonymized. And so we really use our ESPs to send the emails, and Hightouch isn't actually storing any of that data. But Anthony, cool. And we also really rigorously tested the platform. We have a pretty extensive AI review board that reviewed the platform as well to ensure. But I think the fact that it's really just built on top of our data stack is really what makes it really exciting.
Awesome. Last questions from our friend Jenna O'Connor at GNC. Hi, Jenna. As you already have so much content, hundreds of thousands of articles, do you believe that was a key facilitator to your ability to launch and enable the platform so quickly? And how big is your team? Two separate questions.
Yeah, my team is pretty small. I have four team members under me that support both site and lifecycle. So 2 on lifecycle, 2 on site. And I think I have to give some credit to my team. They're really scrappy and really leaned into AI. And so I think one of the reasons we were able to get to market so quick is because they just asked the question. I think sometimes the hardest thing is what to ask, and we always learn you just have to ask it something. And if you don't know what to do, we would ask Hightouch, what should we do? And it would get us somewhere. And so I think it's really the scrappiness of the team, but then also AMP is a really user-friendly interface too, so it's pretty intuitive to be able to get in there and start learning quickly. So I think it's a combination of the platform, but also our team just really if they didn't know a question, I kind of started to say ask AMP. Don't ask me, ask AMP. And it started to get questions, and I think that was a really helpful behavior for the team.
Nice. Well, thank you so much. Let's give another round of applause to Lindsay and Anthony. Thank you.